Hello once again, friends, and welcome again to Paul's Pictures. First of all, before we get on with today's video, I'd like to thank everyone who watched in the last day my video from yesterday, and also for the people who responded with their comments. And the reaction was, I was really pleased. I'm really pleased to say, overwhelmingly positive, so I'm very grateful for all of those people for their encouragement, and I hope I can continue to provide you with some watchable videos. Today we're going to get into another street photograph. Once again, I'm going to target one of the images from the market job I did the other week, from which we drew yesterday's image. This one is a relatively simple image which we won't need to do a lot of work to, but it does highlight a couple of the issues that concern street photographers, the permission, whether we ask permission or not, whether it's ethical to use a picture when we don't have permission, that kind of thing. First thing we need to do is go down to the collection. As you can see, I have quite a number of collections here which we can deal with another day. This one is Moama Market, that's the name of the town. And we go down and we can find the image, I hope. You can see her, there she is. Now this lady, as you can see, we have just the back of her head. So okay, first thing we'll get back in the develop module, which is either D on the keyboard or develop on the tab up here, and we'll get into the develop module right away. Now the reason, as I was saying, that I picked this was because this lady was not happy to be photographed. Basically what happened was she was a stall holder at the market. She was facing towards me. I pointed the camera at her, put the camera to my eye, pointed at her. I was attracted by her really white hair, which was kind of glowing in the sun, as you can see. And as soon as I pointed the camera at her, she turned away, but by that stage I had already committed to pressing the shutter button. So normally when people turn away, I don't continue, but just one of those times when there was no time, I didn't, it just happened. So I got the image. So I smiled at the lady, but she had already turned away, so that was no good. So I just went on with my business to the next part of the market. Okay, so let's get on. First thing again is to turn on these two triangles up here, which we can see we don't have any underexposed areas. It was a very bright sunny day and there's no shadows or anything in this area, but we do have quite a bit of not bad, nothing's bad, but a lot of overexposure here and on her arm as well. The reason that we have the back of her head, as I was saying, she's turned away. Now that raises the question, well, it's obvious therefore that she was suggesting very strongly that she did want her photograph taken. The question is it ethical now for us to, or for me to use this photograph? And I have come to the conclusion, yes, it is ethical, and basically there are two reasons. The first reason is that well, I should continue the story. She came up to me probably 5 minutes later and said to me, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" And I basically said, "Oh, well, I'm a street photographer, just working in the market today, taking pictures of the market stall holders plus the customers and people wandering around." And she went on to talk about how I should get permission, that I have no right to take pictures without getting the person's permission. I said to her, "Look, first of all, we don't really need permission. We're in public. It's perfectly legal and ethical to take pictures of people in public. However, if you don't want me to have the image, I'm perfectly happy to delete it." And before I even had a chance to find the image, the lady had turned and stormed off way in a huff, basically. So I'd given her the opportunity to delete it. So first reason that I feel I can use it is that she did not take that opportunity and ask me to delete it. And the second reason is that we don't have a face. We cannot recognize this lady. It could be argued that if you knew who she was anyway, you'd recognize her from behind. However, that's pretty marginal at best, so I feel perfectly happy in using this image. So, having said that, let's get on with it. I've already turned these on so we can see the overexposure, so we'll try and get rid of some of that. Well, no, maybe first of all we should look at whether we like it in black and white or not. Black and white, we click on here under the Basics tab, or we can click on V on the keyboard. So it looks pretty good in black and white. It also looks pretty good in color with this nice foliage in the background, and it's quite nicely out of focus. But I think today, for the purpose of this exercise, as it's such a simple picture, simple black and white really, I mean, if you want to put it that way, or greys and white, we'll convert to black and white. Next thing is we need to try and get rid of the overexposure, so we'll drop the exposure down a little bit, quite a lot actually, see how far we can go. Now, even if we dropped it down to there, we've still got all of this here, so that was pointless doing that, so we just have it back up. I like it quite, that background quite dark actually, given that her hair is so bright and overexposed. We'll have it right down there. Now we'll try and use the recovery to get rid of the highlights. So that's got rid of most of them. So what we'll do is to get rid of the rest, we're not going to get a lot of detail in this part of her hair anyway, so we don't need to worry too much about that, but we'll go up to the adjustment brush here. Now under the adjustment brush we have quite a few areas that we can control in a more fine-tuned manner. So we have the new clicked here, and basically I like to leave these at 0 until I've done the work. Now we have here brush size and brush feather. Now if I have a large brush, you can see the feather. We can increase the size of the feather to what we like so that we don't have any hard edges, but in this case I don't think we need to worry about that because we actually don't mind having the hard edges if there are any. Size of the brush is obviously too big. We can either use this slider or we can use the scroll arrow to enlarge the brush or to decrease its size. In this case we probably want to only have it quite small just to cover that area there. So we just paint over the area like as with any adjustment brush, just maybe a little bit up there, and then we'll go over here to the exposure slider and bring the exposure down, but we're only going to need to come down very fractionally, otherwise we're going to end up with this grey patch here, and so we'll just take it back. So I think if we click done, let's just enlarge that to see what we look like. See, we're not going to get much detail here, but I think for this picture we don't need to be concerned too much about that, because we've got really the kind of main objective, I guess, is to highlight this contrast between the white and the darks of her hair. We probably would like to increase the blacks though. No, maybe we'll do that some other way. We'll leave that for the moment. Probably be able to increase the blacks, the darks by upping the contrast. So I don't really want to muck around too much with the tone curve in this one. I don't know that we'll need to do that. So let's just up that to probably as far as we want to go. Let's try the clarity, because that also increases the contrast. That's actually made a bit of a sharper look to her hair here. We'll try the sharpening later, but that's, I think I'm not going to do too much better than that with this image. No, I thought that was a bit overexposed, but that looks alright. So let's go down and I don't think we'll worry about the tone curve. I like this look. A lot of people are probably going to say, oh, I don't like that, but I quite like it. It's still a bit overexposed there, but I think we can leave that. I don't think we'll get too much joy out of playing around with that. Now let's try, I was thinking of trying to darken her blue shirt a bit here. Yeah, so let's see if we can darken that, see what that looks like. That's too much, obviously. So something around about there. Maybe we can try and maybe lighten up those greens a bit. See if we can get sort of a little bit of whitish business happening in the background there. Don't know about the look of that. Let's see what that looks like. No, I don't know. It's not too bad. What do you think? I'd like to know people's opinion about this. I quite like that sort of kind of an arty effect, I think, don't you think? But I'd love to hear people's opinion on that. But let's leave it at that. I think that's pretty good. So I think all we need to do with this now is perhaps reduce. I was going to reduce the frame. Let's see what we look like when we get smaller. We lose that big white blob in the corner. Not sure. So hold the shift key down to keep that proportions again. Let's see, just to keep half of it. So hit the enter key, see what we look like. Yes, I think that's not bad, is it? It almost has a arty impressionist kind of look to the back here. So I think don't think that's too bad at all. So let's go down to the detail tab here and have a look to see what we've got with noise. I don't know that we want to worry too much about the noise because we haven't got any facial features here. We're not seeing any noise there. I think well, let's just put it up for a little bit of good measure. Who knows? No, I think we'll just leave it. That's fine. So let's have a look at this mask here. Now, holding down the Alt key, clicking on the masking button here, turns to white, and as we go up here you can see how the Lightroom wants to protect that highlighted area in her hair and most of that foliage of the background. So let's do that, and we'll up the sharpening control there, take the radius down to 0.5 again, and the detail right down to probably 1 or 2 or 3. No, we'll try and get it a bit, maybe. It's so fine when you get down to these lower numbers. We're just 1. Once you get down that low, it probably doesn't matter a lot, not in an image like this. Okay, I think we might just be about done. Let's have a look to see whether a vignette will help us with this. Again, highlight priority is not going to work. Color obviously not. Paint overlay. Let's see if we need a darker vignette. Actually, I think a little bit of dark is quite nice. I don't know about you, but I quite like that. Let's try and get it back to 0 and see what happens. Yeah, I think just a little bit of a dark vignette there, and I think we might leave it at that. So let's look at the original image, and I think we've probably well, we don't see the effect of the cropping there on that, but there's the cropping. So I'll go back to the double image again, and I think I like that. I think I like this impressionistic background. I also like it in the color, but I think because we have this overexposed hair, we've got a much nicer effect in the black and white. So I think we'll leave it at that. So thank you very much, and as I say, I'll welcome any comments you might have about the processing of the image itself, or about those issues about permission, or whether I should have ethically was right to go ahead and use the image. It'd be great to have a discussion, meet some new people. So thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.